this is a series of webinars over the next 3 weeks, where we here at Smart help you, our customers, understand where technology is going into the workplace. So this is the Step Away from the Flipchart webinar, which is about us helping you about upskilling and retaining employees through high quality training. Next slide, please. My name is Colin Birchall. I'm relatively new to the business. I've come from a background of working with business owners, directors, HR managers about how we implement smart interactive displays into their business. And I'm joined today by the one and only Charlie Leverton.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for joining the Beat the Boardroom webinar today. This is going to be one of 3 that we're doing. Most of you probably know me. I've been at Smart for 7 years. I'm part of the furniture these days, and I'm the head of the UK business sales team. So Colin and I are delighted to have you on board. Ian, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide for us. So what we're going to cover today, 3 very quick topics, but obviously Colin and I do a lot of demonstrations to customers. We get to speak to a lot of end customers. I'm sure a lot of you do as well, where training tends to be very much at the forefront of being able to retain staff. And there's always the question of what makes training impactful. How do we keep staff and drive our business forward as a business that people want to come and work for. And then what we're going to do is we've got a couple of short videos that we're going to show a quick couple of demonstrations on as well. So Ian, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide for us. Over to you, Colin.
Thanks, Charlie. So there is a renewed focus on training right now. Learning and development have become priority for many companies, gaining recognition and importance across industries. On average, companies estimate that approximately 40% of existing workers will require reskilling of 6 months or less, according to the Future Jobs Report published by the World Economic Forum. So we're actually seeing right now, when we're going out and seeing customers, so we're actually seeing right now, sorry, I've got an audio in the background there, right now that there are a lot of people who are trying to adapt to the new hybrid workspace where we are, and what's involved in making sure that those people are skilled and trained to work in this new world. Ian, next slide, please.
Yeah, so obviously we have the Gen Z generation that is coming through the business ranks as we speak, and a lot of them are used to Smart. Smart's been around for 30 plus years. I think it's almost 35 years, if not 35 years. So they've probably gone through school with the Smart board in the front of their classroom and using it as the technology of choice, or not necessarily their choice, but the teacher's choice. And so they're expecting the same type of technology available to them, not just in the office, but sometimes also as a hybrid worker at their home. Everybody's got an iPhone, they know what a touch screen does, and so that's the generation that is living the touch screen side of things. So we have to be very much on top of providing them what they're looking for.
So you also see there the Great Resignation, or the lack of talent. The Great Resignation, as some of you may know, refers to an increasing trend across all sectors, where people are leaving their jobs in significant numbers because they're looking for more satisfying, more engaging, more meaningful work. And this has been a trend since the pandemic that people are doing that. Currently, management consultants are saying that there's probably going to be an increased turnover of staff. About 55% of companies surveyed say there's going to be an increased turnover of staff purely about this, and businesses now thinking, how do we meet that challenge? How do we retain and recruit new talents as well? Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you've got the need for resilience amongst the workforce. So learning and development leaders recognise the need for more cross-training and upskilling opportunities for their staff. Not everybody goes into work, into their job as that's their only job that they're ever going to do. They want to go up the ranks or they want to go sideways. So organisations, need to provide the upskilling. So it builds the organisational resilience. So it means that staff stay longer because they're more interested in knowing that they can go up the ranks or sideways into different jobs and pick up more experience that way. It also encourages better collaboration as well and promotes transparency in workflows as well. Ian, on to the next slide, please. Thank you. I think the first part's yours, Colin.
Yeah, so familiarization with the tech. Employees, new employees, especially Gen Z, now expect technology to play a role in most business processes. That's the same, it's true of workplace training. Speaking frankly, that agent projector or even that Flipchart probably gives your staff the impression your business is out of touch and not 100% committed to your development. So right now, that Gen Z that's coming through, they'll be familiar with things like smartphones, interactive whiteboards, because you've used them in school, and coming into a workplace and not seeing like even the basics like a video conferencing camera, that would probably set off alarm bells for a lot of new employees. So really, there is a full expectation that that tech is in place to engage them. Charlie?
Yeah, I think also with that, what you tend to find is that, or I've certainly just in the last week or so, I was seeing a investment bank up in London, and they had a very, very nice office, lovely lifts up into I think it was the 3rd floor, actually it was the 6th floor, out and into the boardroom. Boardroom looked fantastic. They had beautiful views over London, a very nice marble table with wood around the edges, beautiful chairs, parquet flooring, the whole shebang. And then in the corner they had a flip chart. And it just goes to show, and this is the funny thing about when companies refresh their meeting rooms, is they still put that very old piece of technology that dates back to, I think, the 1700s or the 1800s, which is that flip chart.
I think it was invented by the guy who invented the till, wasn't it? Or invented the need for a receipt, Charlie?
I think you're right. So, so it doesn't necessarily, like you said, Colin, give the best impression to new employees or people that are coming for a job interview to see the flip chart or a lack of technology within those types of places. Hybrid working, I know I get taught, and I have lots of conversations with end customers about hybrid working, how their company is set up for it, what how their staff come in and want to be able to interact when they're working from home in important meetings that are where there's 2 or 3 people within an office space having that meeting, and they're the one that's at home because it's their designated day for working at home. And how do they become more impactful within that meeting? And that's where things like Teamworks comes into its own around that. And we do, I mean, I know I do a lot of demonstrations around Teamworks and how it can work and provide collaboration and enhance collaboration for remote workers. And then obviously you've got things like the personalized training.
Yeah, I think that's really important, the personalized training. I think you've got to tailor your content to an audience, and I don't think you can really do that with a flip chart. Essentially, we're talking to a generation who have grown up with TV shows that have gone from like 10, 15 edits in a minute to 60 edits in a minute. So you've got to have something that's dynamic and it's moving and it's engaging. You've got to be able to have a piece of technology where they want to get up and get involved in, rather than just staring at a flip chart and a couple of slides, basically. So I think that it's not just a step away from the flip chart. It's also beat that. You don't want to hear that droning, snoring noise at the back of the room either. So I think personalized training is really, really important for today's generation of workers coming through into the workplace.
Yeah, and actually I was speaking to a lady that does a lot of training, and obviously because of the COVID restrictions, she did most of her training with CEOs over in Japan, and of course wasn't able to travel. So she was looking for a way of being able to provide her training to those CEOs in Japan and ensure that they stayed interested and focused in what she was doing, and showing her teamwork. It was something that straight away was exactly what she was looking for, and meant that she could have a much more collaborative and engaging and interactive training sessions with those CEOs than she could have done through a Teams call or a Zoom call or a WebEx call. So
and I guess there was a need for two-way inking and things like that, wasn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to show back the results that the CEO had provided, and be able to look at their work, and be able to mark up into their work while they're also seeing it in live time, all those kind of things as well. So it really, really shows that training does need to be so much more impactful than ever before. And my children, I've got twins that are 16, TikTok is their way of life these days, and that's, 30-second video and that's it. I don't think they've ever sat down and watched a full movie, a 2-hour movie ever in their lives, because it's 2 hours, and they don't have 2 hours. So it's got to be really impactful, the training side of things.
Definitely.
Ian, on to the next slide, please. Thank you.
So how smart are we helping? You probably appreciate Smart's been around for over 30 years. It's something that's been used in schools, colleges, universities. In fact, 1 in 3 classrooms in the UK has a smart board. So Gen Z actually trusts that technology and that smart brand name as much as they might trust something like Microsoft or Google, because it's a brand they've grown up with. In fact, Smart's become that brand there that's very similar to Hoover when people talk about vacuum cleaners. So my experience of walking into a meeting with a business where they've said, "Oh, we've been to a school and we're looking for this type of technology to engage our employees more," the first words out of the mouth is they want a smart board. So that shows you how strong the brand is permeated right now. And now that Smart are very much not just in the classroom, we're all about working with businesses. We're actually giving businesses those tools and that software that's specifically catered to them. So rather than putting the technology in that's got something that's geared towards a classroom like a primary school or high school, we now have fully focused business tools specifically for SMBs and enterprise customers. Charlie, what's the sort of software that we're doing as well now?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we've got our smart collaboration software, Smart Teamworks 4, which gives it's so flexible. So it works with any video conferencing platform. It also works with Office 365 and Google Meet, and provides the ability to have 8 people wirelessly screen sharing across any operating system, whether it's Mac OS, iOS, Android, Chrome, or even Miracast with touchback. And then you can pick and choose which of those wireless screen shares you want to blow up onto the big screen and be able to mark up directly in. So you get a huge amount of value for money for that type of solution. There's no there's no downloads, there's no compatibility issues or anything like that, because it works across everything.
I think it's safe to say as well, Charlie, it's a walk up and use technology as well. It's that simple one click to join a meeting and things like that. But it's the gestures that people are familiar with, being able to go in and do that pinch and zoom and stuff like that. That's very much the expectation now. I mean, I was at a job the other day. You can't go do that with a Flipchart at the end of the day if you need to see it at the back of the room. So something like Smart has immediate tangible benefits in the boardroom straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just in the boardroom, right?
No.
Yeah, it's being able to get live information to remote workers as well, and have them collaborate back onto the board as well. So all those types of things. And obviously we'll show this a little bit more within the demo video that we've got. But Teamwork's 4. I talk about it a lot with customers. Even last night, I was talking to an internet provider who basically was saying that we need to be able to collaborate better. They had a rivals product, but they couldn't use it. They wanted something very simplistic, which is, I know we call them smart boards, but and yes, they are smart, but they're also simplistic as well. Having that ability to walk up the board, pick up a pen and start writing, and have two people writing at the same time. If one makes a mistake, you're able to rub out with the back of your hand or with the blackboard eraser without the other person having to stop. Now you imagine that within a training environment where you're having to, with every other competitor, you're having to stop that other person from writing and putting down their ideas to turn your pen into an eraser. It doesn't work.
I think as well, Charlie, the equity of access for people working remotely is really important as well. The fact that if they can do that two-way inking where they can join in and feel part of the room, they don't feel isolated from the room. I think having those tools in place to have that equitable meeting experience is really, really important.
Massive. And I've spoken to at least 3 or 4 customers in the last month that have said exactly that. We need to make our hybrid workers feel like they're part of the team when they are working from home.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So next slide, please, Colin. Sorry, Ian. At this stage, we're just going to show you a couple of quick videos. The first one is around the hardware side of things. This is me and my colleague Ian using the GX series smartboard. And being able to interact together at the same board at the same time while engaging the people within the room and the people outside of the room through the collaboration side of things with Teamworks. And this is writing into a presentation and being able to embed your ink directly in there while obviously discussing, and you can see that the people are very engaged in what we're doing.
This is one of our demo suites, isn't it, Charlie?
It is indeed, yeah. So this is in our new showroom, which we're launching tomorrow on another webinar at, I always get the time wrong, 9 o'clock tomorrow. So if you'd like details of that, and in fact, we have a chat box facility on the Zoom call. So if you'd like to put any questions in or would like to know more about the webinar tomorrow, please drop your details in there or ask questions in there as well. So the second video is around Smart Teamworks, which is what Colin and I have both been talking about. So I'm going to hand over to our Canadian colleague, Steve Maranowski, just to do a little bit of talking on the video.
One of the key capabilities that Teamworks gives you is a highly interactive and collaborative whiteboard that you can either use to launch within a room and get access to a variety of different files and objects that you can mark up and edit. But you can also share out this whiteboard with participants by either doing a share link or by a QR code that they can scan in directly. And then you have the ability to manage the participants from the Teamworks whiteboard, and you can see what they are doing live with their interaction with your collaborative whiteboard. You also have an ability to save your session, your whiteboard session, somewhere either on a local drive or on a shared drive that you are able to then import and resume later on. At the end of your session, once you've decided to leave your meeting, you will be prompted to now have a look at creating a recap. And what this recap does is it doesn't just save the file. What this does is it creates a PDF package that provides you the whiteboards that you created, the objects that were added to the whiteboards, and any of the markups that you did, and gives you a number of different options of either printing or email or saving to files so that you can share it with your colleagues later. So Teamworks simplifies meeting start, collaboration, content sharing, and meeting recap with in-room or remote participants. Give your teams the tools that they need to communicate and collaborate effectively. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so that's it in terms of the webinar, or for today's webinar. Obviously, we've got, if there's any questions, we'll take those just at the end. Next week webinar is around from Bangor to Bangkok. So a nice, interesting title there. So please join that.
I've never done that journey myself.
And please keep an eye out for our new training white paper that will be launched or published soon. And one thing I would say as well is, if you are on LinkedIn and you're not following either myself or my colleague Colin, please do so. Colin puts on regular posts. I'm not so good, but Colin puts on some regular posts. And one of them is a Wednesday video that's normally 1 minute, but doesn't always end up as 1 minute. Yeah. Video on very topical subjects. Please take a look and follow Colin and myself for more details. They're great little videos, things like being able to see how the HDMI out from our smart board is able to connect with a second screen, and they can see everything in live time on there as well. So things like that, as well as teamworks and speaking to end customers, all those kind of things as well. So Ian, over to you. Do you have any questions at all? And just in case you didn't know, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just looking at the chat. Nothing's come through just yet, so nothing burning. But if anyone does have a question, they can always follow up with you guys, I guess, directly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, not a problem at all. So thank you everyone for your time today. And obviously, if there's any questions.
Oh, sorry there, Charlie. We've had a question there from Chris Southern. What kit is in the showroom?
Join the call tomorrow, the webinar call tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and you'll find out everything, Chris.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. Yes, £5 for the link, not a problem at all. Are you giving me the £5 or am I giving you the £5? So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank
Colin
you,
and I very much appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next week on From Bangor to Bangkok. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you.